If you want the too long didn't watch, just skip to the end of the video. There'll be a timestamp and I'll give it to you right then and there. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Texas Chainsaw Massacre video. The technical test has ended and it is time for me to give my feedback on the game. So there was an email sent out that you can give feedback to, so I've already given all this feedback to the devs. Hopefully I can make it pretty clear in this video as well. But yeah, the tech test was pretty good. Like, it was honestly, for a technical test and the game coming in 3 months, it was very, very solid. Visual wise, like frame rate, I mean, I can't even get more than 1 FPS on Jedi Survivor, a AAA game. Texas Chainsaw was a constant 144 on all Ultra as well. So the game runs really well. The gameplay though, it's just a little bit off right now. And as the tech test went on, a lot of people were noticing certain aspects of the game that felt a little imbalanced. So we're gonna go over my notes here, my feedback, and talk about it a little bit. Some will just be more bullet pointy, some I will be able to deep dive into and tell you why I want this stuff changed. I just want to put it out there right now, there's a lot of people talking on Twitter and on the Reddit, in the Discord, telling people to stop giving feedback of the game and trying to change things because people are trying to make it like DBD. I want to make that clear right now. I'm not trying to make this like DBD. There's a reason I don't play DBD anymore, and I only come back for the PTBs just because there's new content. I do not like the way DBD plays at all right now, so definitely don't want to make it like DBD at all. And yeah, I can actually tell a difference between this game and DBD because they are completely different. So just want to put that out there. This is not feedback to turn the game into Dead by Daylight 2. This is feedback to make Texas Chainsaw Massacre a fun game for everyone. So yeah, anyways, my first point of feedback is the simple ready up screen at the beginning. Now I'm pretty sure it was a 5-minute timer, or it's just a super long timer, because the only way you can access the options menu was during the ready up screen. So maybe that's why it was a super long timer. They said the menus were unfinished during the tech test, but the in-game stuff was actually all finished. It was way too long. Hopefully we can get down to like a 1-minute timer, maybe 45 seconds. There was people mic spamming to ready up. There's memes on Twitter and stuff about people not readying up in the game. I think that 5-minute timer, or however long it was, it felt like 5 minutes. I think it actually was. It was way too long. One of the reasons Evil Dead and VHS kind of died off was because of long queue times. Now this game I don't think is going to suffer from long queue times, but if the ready up screens are always 5 minutes long, that'll be pretty annoying, honestly. So hopefully that'll be changed. I think that was just for the tech test, but just want to put it out there anyways. But yeah, we don't really know yet how like character picking is going to go during that ready up screen, or if you're going to pick beforehand and queue as that character. We do know you'll be able to pick your own characters, but we just don't know if it's going to alter the queue times, if like there can't be like 2 Connies in one match or something, right? Or maybe you can't have a hitchhiker and a sissy in one match because they're basically like the same class in a way where they can go through gaps and crawl spaces. I think every match is gonna need a Leatherface. I think Leatherface is the only one that starts in the basement, and every match can't start without someone playing Leatherface. So if that's a thing, that'll also alter the queue times, because Leatherface also is the only one that can destroy the barricades. So you need a Leatherface in every single match. I don't think it's gonna start without one. But yeah, we don't know if we can have like a hitchhiker and a sissy on a team at the same time, or if it's gonna be class based. So yeah, maybe you need that ready up screen to be long because it's gonna accidentally, if you don't get the role you want, it might put you in a different role. Like it might force you to play Leatherface, and then you're gonna have to pick your stuff then. But yeah, that's it for the ready up screen. On to the next thing. The cook, he needs a lot of teamwork to actually be useful. Sure, he can put locks up for the team. The cook's ability to ping people through walls and listen in for them is really cool for himself, but it doesn't ping it for the rest of the team. And if you don't feel like talking with a mic or using text chat to call out where someone is, or you just don't know the exact call out, like you ping in the basement, what are you going to say? Like, oh, there's one in the basement. Like, it could be anywhere down there, right? So they should definitely make it so that that actually pings it for the whole team, so that he's actually like a support character. Because it's not like he's going to ping someone through a wall and be able to actually go and chase them, because he's so slow. He's very easily loopable. There's clips on the Twitter as well where you can just run around a single box. There's just a single box on the Slaughterhouse, and you can do this in multiple places as well. Just loop him around. He's very slow. If he can have like 2 swings and he's out of stamina and he's just like stunned there. So yeah, the cook is not good at chasing. He is good at finding people, but if he's not able to communicate that with his team, or they're not able to get that info right away, then he's almost useless. But I do think he has one of the most OP abilities in the game, that being able to know where people are at almost all times, because it has almost no cooldown is very, very strong. But he's meant to be the scout of the team. He's meant to do that. So I think he's almost balanced, but he just needs to be able to show off to his team that there's actually someone there. Now, speaking of how much you can loop the cook around, certain loops in this game are insane. Now, obviously, the cook can close gaps. Leatherface can shut down gaps as well. He can chainsaw a lot of them. Not all of them, but most of them. And Leatherface can also chainsaw the barricades. So a good team that actually focuses on all those will make loops a lot weaker. But currently, even with destroying certain objects, if there's just one family member on a victim, there's some infinites in the game still. And yeah, you're supposed to use teamwork in this game, so you're supposed to have 2 family members usually chasing someone, especially the slower types. But again, that comes down to a problem where if no one's communicating, if you don't have a mic, or if you just really don't feel like talking that day or something, or don't want to use text chat because it's not quick enough, you're going to have a very hard time as family in this game. That's something that Video Horror Society did very well, which was having an insanely great ping system. So you could play very confidently without a mic. So hopefully that, again, these loops being crazy comes down to not enough teamwork and comes down to not having a ping system. So yeah, definitely a way to fix how crazy the loops aren't even to change them, it's just to add a ping system and something else we'll talk about later, which is the iframes. Now this is a problem that Evil Dead the game, even when the first day it came out, the first day it dropped, I was talking about in a YouTube video and most people were agreeing with me. And I think this is part of the reason the game died off, just because it was very annoying to deal with. Lots of people complaining about it. Iframes. A lot of the iframes in this game are very annoying to deal with when you're playing as the family, and it just instantly reminds me of how Evil Dead was played, where you would click the execute on like a dead-eye enemy, and you'd go into like a 5 to 10 second animation of you killing the person, and the demon just has to stand there and watch you do it. And then you can instantly after that click on another thing and be invincible for another amount of time. And it just feels so bad playing the demon in Evil Dead when that happens, and it feels really bad playing the family in this game when someone just keeps going in and out of an invincibility spot. So making the iframes a little bit less, they could still be there, but just a little bit less, gives some more, make it a little more scary for victims trying to escape a family member. Just give them a little less iframes, or make it clearer on where the iframes are. Maybe they glow when they're invincible, a little aura around their character. Even if a victim jumps out the family house window right in front of you, there's nothing you can do about it except to watch them right there until they get all the way up, and then you could start hitting them. Like, you can't pull them off the ground, you can't do any of that. It's weird because there is a certain animation in this game where you can interrupt it, and that's when a survivor or a victim goes to stab another family member. If you're Leatherface, you can come up behind them and just instantly chainsaw them, get an insta-kill. But also that animation isn't very readable. You'd think they're invincible during it, but that one is actually different. So yeah, more readable iframes and just less of them would be very, very nice. Another thing, the grandpa wake up cutscene is super annoying, and it happened to me multiple times, especially when I was playing as Leatherface. I'm revving my chainsaw in the air, chasing someone in the basement, and then, oh, victim noise, or well, grandpa, you're in a new cutscene, and then right when the cutscene ends, your chainsaw's down, it's not revved anymore. They escape through a gap because you have to rev it back up again and then hit them. Yeah, so the grandpa cutscene I think needs to go. I think the little indicators, just like how an exit opens and it says the indicator on the side, like the valve exit has opened, just say grandpa has awoken. I don't know. We don't need a whole cutscene for it though. That is one of the most frustrating things in the game. It happened to me like 6 or 7 times. I'm Leatherface chasing someone, grandpa cutscene, and the victim escapes because, I mean, you lose the rev, you lose the entire chase because of it. There are other times when you're playing victim and that cutscene happens that also mess you up, like you could be lockpicking, right about to finish the lock, and then grandpa cutscene, and you're back to lockpicking. It just feels very weird. An in-game cutscene for everyone map wide, I just don't like it that much. Plus the cutscene isn't clear on if the victims actually escaped the basement or not. I feel like it should tell you, not just for the family side, but for the victim side too. Like whenever that cutscene comes up, do you think, as a victim, do you think a door is open somewhere? Should you just go run around the basement and try to find whoever opened the door? Or do you think someone just made a loud noise and now the family can come down? So I do think that should also be more clear. Like I could either say grandpa woke up on the side, Grandpa woke up because a victim exited the basement, or Grandpa woke up because a victim made a loud noise. Right now it just says your loud noise awoke Grandpa or whatever, so it's a little confusing for people. And not very clear for the family if they should be watching the exits of the basement. Or if it's time for Leatherface to come up because a door has opened, when really a door hasn't opened and noise just happened. Another thing, when you have push to talk on, there's a voice icon in the top left and it looks like it's always on. It's like glowing yellow and it has a speaker icon. That was a little confusing at first. I thought this could just be a me thing, but it just always seemed like my mic was on the entire time, but it wasn't because I had push to talk on. But when a mic icon is always up there, it just seems like you're speaking into the mic and you just feel like, can everyone hear me right now? I'm trying to record a video, but maybe that's just a me thing. But yeah, that voice icon up there, I feel like it should be a little X when you're not talking, and then when you do talk, it should be that icon that looks like you're talking. Speaking of voice chat, Proxy Chat. That was a big thing a lot of people were really hoping for in this game, and I hope it does come eventually. It doesn't necessarily need to be like you can press a button to speak to the victims when you're the family, although that does make it very fun. And there's a lot of funny moments in Friday the 13th, for example, where you can talk to the survivors of the match as Jason. So that could come, but that doesn't really need to. But what I really would love is just proxy chat in general. So you're playing as a victim, you're running around the basement like trying to talk and trying to find people, trying to find your teammates, instead of just a map-wide talking. Of course, that would make it so that in Discord and stuff, they'd have an advantage, but I don't think that matters too much. It just makes the in-game element a lot more fun. As for the family, they could also have a proxy chat to each other, but also give them a global button because they probably need that to coordinate. Because if a single cook is on his own, he can't do anything. Again, there's infinites when you're the cook, so you do need to always be able to talk to your people from far away. And a ping system would also be nice, globally pinging. All right, onto the Slaughterhouse and how that felt. The Slaughterhouse was not as fun for most people as the house was. And I think that's because the house felt more balanced. The Slaughterhouse, in a way, felt very victim-sided or just more unfun for the family. And I think a reason for that is the cook does not spawn. Now, in the family house, let's talk about this really quick. The cook is not meant to go turn on the car battery in the back. The hitchhiker spawns in a perfect spot where he can go turn on the generator and the car battery. He can just go there very easily. In the Slaughterhouse map though, the hitchhiker does not spawn in a good location because the exits are on two opposite sides of the map through a ton of doors. It's not just a single walk all the way there. The hitchhiker spawns at the generator, so you can instantly turn that on, but then you have to go through like what is it, like 7 doors, 5 doors, 6 doors, I don't know. It's a lot of doors that you have to open, lock behind you, open, lock behind you, open, lock behind you, get to the next building, open, lock, and then you're there. So I guess like 5 doors. And by that time, the victim's already out of the basement, and you don't have the car battery on yet. If the batteries are always going to be turned on at the beginning of the match, either make it so that they start on, which would buy the family a lot more time to set up their traps, their locks, and stuff like that. Or just spawn the cook, at least in the Slaughterhouse map, spawn him in the Slaughterhouse or the loading docks area, because he can lock that down and turn on the car battery. I think if they looked at the stats, and I might be wrong about this, but if the devs look at the stats for the Slaughterhouse, I think most people escaped through, first off, the valve, obviously, because that was just a really easy exit, but then the car battery spot. There were so many victims just rushing the car battery spot because none of the family members spawn there. So they cannot turn on the car battery. It takes a while. You got to go through many locked doors, unlock them, open them, lock them behind you. It just takes a very long time, and then you don't get the rest of the map set up at that point. Yeah, either making it so that the car battery and generator start on, because you're going to be powering them on anyways. There's really no point to having to do it yourself when you have other priorities to set up, or just spawn the cook in that loading dock / Slaughterhouse area, and he'll be able to turn it on instead of the hitchhiker, because the hitchhiker, it's going to take him forever to get over there. So yeah, that was the main thing that I hated about the Slaughterhouse and why I did not like playing the family on it. The car battery is so far away and there's too many doors, too many animations to go through. So yeah, another thing a lot of people noticed was that the camera in third person, especially on the family side, phased through a lot of walls. So hopefully they'll work on that. I haven't really seen that in too many third person games all that much, if they were like designed for a third person. But yeah, the camera was phasing all over the place, going through walls, going through doors, and you just were blinding yourself all the time because you couldn't see anything because the camera was on the opposite side of the wall. Hopefully that gets fixed when the game comes out. Speaking of iframes again, victims have so many animations that benefit them, and then when it comes to doors, they have no animation that would hurt them at all or benefit them. But I feel like doors, since they're basically the pallets of this game, you slam them in the killer's face and it stuns them. I feel like those need animations from the victims. Because right now they just run through doors and they just spam the E button or whatever, and the door just slams behind them. They could be like running through it and like get 5 feet away from the door, and then the door just slams after. No animation, they're just running past, boom, running past doors, boom. And then the family has to go through and like turn it, open it, close it behind them. So it gets pretty annoying how many animations the family has to go through when the victim can just sprint through things. If there's anything in the game that should have an animation, I think it is the door closing. Like, at least make it so that you have to be a foot away from the door instead of being able to sprint through, be 3 feet away, and then the door slams. Because that just feels like they're sniping it from far away, and it does not feel good for the family. And you can't really rely on Leatherface to just get rid of all these obstacles for you, because that takes a lot of time and gives the victims way too much time to just finish the map. So yes, Leatherface is a counter for doors, but that just wastes so much time. He's the one with the chainsaw. He should be the one also chasing a lot of the victims. So yeah, maybe give an animation to running past a door and then they grab the handle and close it, or something that slows them down slightly when they go through doors. Because I can imagine this in DBD, for example, people just running past pallets and they just just drop them. It just makes it impossible to get through. Survivors in DBD have an animation where they put the pallet down, so they're stuck there for at least a second. Now, another big problem here, this one was overlooked, I think, by the devs. It happened in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War as well, and so many people complained about it. I think it happened in Modern Warfare 2019 also, but the characters' dialogue, they just randomly start talking. Now, I love how the characters talk in this game. It's really cool. They call out each other, like Sonny sees Connie and he starts talking to Connie. He knows it's Connie. Very cool how they interact, just like in Overwatch. Like character-specific voice lines, like they're friends or something. Love that stuff. But when the family can hear that, and it's just like it happens at random, you can't shut your character up. There's no button to hold so that your character doesn't talk. It just gives out the victim's position. So this is actually a victim buff. There you go. Finally, a victim buff. Let's go. Yeah, but I was playing the family a lot, just walking around, and then I would hear someone. They'd be like, Connie, I'm over here. And then I would just be like, I turn and I just see them right there. Like, I don't know why they give out their positions, but that was the thing again in Call of Duty. Your character would randomly call out enemies. They'd be like, I'm right behind him. And then you'd turn around and you'd be like, oh yeah, he is right behind me. And then you'd shoot them. So they took that out of Call of Duty. That was really annoying, but it's in this game. So yeah, I think that's a problem because obviously victims shouldn't be giving out their location like, killer, I'm over here. And lastly, I didn't give this one to the devs, but I just was thinking of a good Sonny buff after seeing where people ranked all these victims. I do think Sonny needs a little buff, or just maybe instead of giving the little sound icon around where he sees people when he uses his ability, maybe a full aura would be nice. Sonny is definitely the weakest right now, definitely has the worst ability. You'd think in a game like this, like especially in games like VHS and DBD, revealing where the killers are and revealing their auras is very powerful, but for some reason Sonny's ability compared to everyone else's just doesn't feel that strong. So my suggestion was to make it so that when he uses his ability, not only does he see where the family is, which is what he does right now, he also moves slightly quieter, not faster or anything, but quieter while sprinting, not while sprint bursting, just regular running. He can run quieter, and he can run while Grandpa screams and won't be revealed. Or even less of a buff to his ability, he can walk and crouch walk while Grandpa screams. So if you ever really need to be on the move, just a little bit, even just a little bit of walking, and you don't want to stand still for 2 seconds while Grandpa screams, use his ability, you get to see where the killers are, and you get to move for an extra 2 seconds because Grandpa won't reveal you while moving. I think that'd be a pretty good buff, pretty decent, maybe not enough of a buff. Maybe they're going to buff him even more than that. But I feel like just a little tiny tweak to Sonny, that would be good enough. But yeah, besides making it so that we can like customize our key bindings, that's all about it for what I want changed in the game. Not too many things. I think most people would agree on most of this stuff. All right, here we go with the bullet points for the too long didn't watch people. The ready up screen is too long. The cook is possibly has the most OP ability in the game, but he is very bad in chase. He needs a ping system to actually be able to use that ability to call out people to his teammates, but maybe that might be too much of a buff, a ping system for him, being able to ping where people are, because his ability has such a short cooldown. So maybe they need to nerf the cooldown if they add that ping system, because it is definitely one of the most OP abilities, but he's never going to catch you even if he sees you through walls. So that sucks for him. Certain loops are insane in this game. They cause infinites. There are infinites. They need, the way to buff that is to work together as a team, but if people don't want to talk, you need a ping system as well for that. That is the only way to possibly stop loops right now, is teamwork. So add a ping system. Some of the iframes are very annoying. It's the same thing Evil Dead had. Very problematic. Victims just have way too many iframes. Hopefully they can nerf that down by a couple of frames, and also give victims an animation for when they close doors that does not have iframes, or maybe has very little iframes, because right now they could just run past doors and slam them in your face, and you're the only one that has to go through an animation to catch up to them. They just run and have zero animation. Grandpa's wake up cutscene interrupts the game way too much. You can be revving and chasing someone as Leatherface, and you just get thrown into a cutscene, and then once the cutscene ends, the victim is already escaping by that point because your chainsaw is no longer revving. It's not just that, but it's just very annoying in general, having the grandpa wake up cutscene. Just add it as a little banner to the side, just like it does when an exit gate opens. The voice chat icon on the top is always on a speaker symbol, so it almost always looks like you're talking. Hopefully they could fix that and make it like a little X when you're not talking, and make it that same symbol when you are pushing to talk. But that's not really a big change, it's just kind of weird and annoying. Potentially adding proxy chat would be very nice, either making it so the family can talk to the victims, or just making it so the victims in general can't globally speak to each other. They have to be able to find each other and then speak. The family could probably have proxy chat to talk with the victims, but the family would mostly speak in global chat to each other because they really need teamwork to catch up to certain victims and certain infinites. Slaughterhouse feels very victim-sided, and the cook does not spawn in a good enough location. He should spawn in the slaughterhouse area so that he can interact with the car battery and turn that on, because the hitchhiker has to go open, lock, open, or unlock, open, then lock, and lock like 5 doors to get to the car battery. So hopefully they can fix that, or just make one of the 2 traps, the generator or the car battery, just start on. Since everyone's going to be setting that up at the beginning anyways, just make it start on. Then that gives time for the cook to set up his locks and the hitchhiker to set up his traps. That could happen across all maps, or maybe just the slaughterhouse, or just simply spawn the cook by the car battery, because most of the time that map just never has the car battery online. The camera currently, or especially for the family members, just phases through the walls randomly, phases through doors, and you just keep getting blinded by complete darkness because the camera's on the opposite side of a wall. Hopefully that can be fixed. And victims randomly give themselves away, just like, hey Connie, I'm over here, or hey, I'm over here, killer. So hopefully the family can no longer hear the victims speaking, or when you're in a certain proximity of a family member, maybe your character just stops talking, or you can hold a button to make them not talk. And Sonny should get a little buff to his ability, because right now it's pretty weak. Maybe make it so that he can walk and crouch walk while Grandpa screams while his ability is up, so he doesn't get detected. And he moves slightly quieter while running, not sprint bursting, but just running while his ability is up. And yeah, that's it for my feedback for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre technical test. Cannot wait for the game to come out. Super excited about it. If you want to see more Texas Chainsaw content, I have a ton of videos recorded. Just gotta edit those. So subscribe here, leave a like, follow my main channel, just Gavin Bennett, if you want. I do a ton of reaction videos there. Currently watching through like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We do horror movies sometimes, mostly Star Wars and Marvel stuff right now, but we're gonna branch out more in the future, obviously. Do tons of animes there. Follow that channel, subscribe here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.